Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon. Welcome back to the latest episode of Musical Musings, airing every Wednesday at 1 p.m. This program is broadcast from Rajamachan University of Technology, Pranakon. This program will come to you in two parts. The first part will introduce a song and discuss its main ideas, like what the song is all about. Then we'll listen to the song and analyze the lyrics. We're going to especially take time to look at any kind of difficult words, vocabulary, slang, anything that I think might be a little bit difficult for you to understand. We will then get to the news and the updates from the university as usual.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome, everyone. This is Gary Gray, your host for Musical Musings. I am an American English teacher here at Rajamachan University of Technology, Pranakon. In today's episode, we'll be listening to and analyzing the song, The Devil Went Down to Georgia. This is a song performed by the Charlie Daniels Band. There have been other bands to cover this song, but it's most famously performed by Charlie Daniels. When I say it's covered by other bands, the word cover, when we talk about music, what that means is that's when a band performs a song that was originally done by someone else. That's called a cover. So a couple of other groups have also performed this song. I'll usually get into the vocabulary and understanding the lyrics in the second half of the program. However, I do want to at least make sure you understand the meaning of the song's name. It's possible that some of you don't understand the words devil or Georgia. Let's cover the second one first. Georgia is easy enough. It's just a state in America. It's located in the southeast U.S., which is where country music really got started. And this is kind of a country song. We'll talk about that a bit more in just a moment. So that's an appropriate place for this song to take place. As for that first word, the devil, remember that in America the biggest religion is Christianity. Within Christianity, there are powerful spirits that they believe in. The good is represented by God, who Christians believe created the world and loves and protects humanity. And because there is good, they believe it requires that there also be bad. That's the devil. The devil is the ultimate evil spirit. Actually, most religions in the world have this same concept. They have this same idea. However, here in Thailand, where Buddhism is our largest religion, it's a little bit different. It's almost more like a philosophy than a religion. So this idea of God and devil might be a little tricky for some of you to understand. But since this concept is within most religions, I think most of you understand this. I think you get the idea. So again, the devil is the ultimate evil spirit. And in this song, he goes to Georgia. All right, so I really think you're going to enjoy this song. It's just unbelievably unique. It's hard to even say what genre this song is. The word genre, I've explained that in previous episodes. It just means a category. We use this word to describe categories within an area of art. For example, in movies, genres might include horror, drama, comedy, action-adventure, and others. In music, you might think of rock, country, pop, rap, and there's lots more, jazz, classical, lots of different genres for music. It is a little weird that we only use that word genre for art. For example, if you're talking about food, and you want Italian food, or Thai food, or Japanese food, we don't call those genres of food. It's a little weird that we do that, but that's the word we use. We have genres of music. Okay, So this song, it's a little bit crazy because it's so hard to really nail down what genre it is. It's mostly a combination of country and rock. However, it's a certain style of country that a lot of people might call bluegrass. So it's like bluegrass rock. And because many of the lyrics are spoken, some people even say it's similar to rap. And that's really strange because country music is not really ever associated with rap. And even more weird is that this song came out before rap was really growing. So it isn't like the Charlie Daniels Band was copying rap somehow. Nope, this song came out long before the world had ever heard of rap music. And yet if you watch rappers react to this song on YouTube, they're really amazed by it. Here's this country singer doing his version of rap before rap was a thing. Now, because rap wasn't in existence yet, I don't really think anyone would classify this as a rap song. But for sure, it's a crazy genre crossover, at least between country and rock. This is the beauty of music. It's art. No one says you have to stick to one genre. In fact, sometimes it bothers me that some people are always asking, "Oh, what genre is this? What genre is that music?" It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to stick to one genre. All right, now before we listen to the song, let's briefly talk about the band, the Charlie Daniels Band. Their lead singer is Charlie Daniels, and Charlie is really a fascinating person. If you just look at him, he's everything you expect for an American Southern country singer. For those of you listening who will see the video, I know some of you are listening on radio, but some of you will be able to see the video. When you see the video that we'll be playing, just look at him. He's a big guy with a beard, wearing a leather vest and jeans, and he's got a big cowboy hat on. And in fact, even the way he just talks about himself, he portrays himself just as you'd think. In his songs, he sings about being from the countryside. He sings about being patriotic and being a Christian, which are stronger values in the countryside in America than in big cities. But what comes with that sometimes is that these folks tend to be socially quite conservative. Now, of course, they don't see a problem with that. It's their belief, so they think it's fine. But sometimes it can mean that they're not very nice or open-minded to people who are different, maybe people of other races or gay people or other types of minorities. Charlie Daniels, however, was a very good, accepting, open-hearted man, despite being a conservative guy from the countryside in the South. And it's very interesting how he expresses this in his songs. His songs, like the one we'll listen to today, often tell stories. So you've got a good guy and a bad guy. So what Charlie Daniels will do, and I think he does it maybe so he doesn't upset his more conservative fans, is that he won't have the good guy express these more open and accepting views. Instead, what he does is he'll make the bad guy express the negative conservative views. And he'll always make it clear in the song that these are the bad guys. So it's a very interesting way to address these issues. And it really does show that Daniels has a really big, open heart, even though he tries to show himself off as this big, tough country guy. And he's actually has come out and said some things so that you know this is really how he feels. So I don't think I'm reading too much into his songs there. I think that's the reality. All right, so I would really encourage you to listen to more music from the Charlie Daniels Band. They have a lot of great songs, and like I said, they love to tell stories in their songs. The Legend of the Woolly Swamp is one of my favorite storytelling songs by them, and there are so many other great songs by them too. Still in Saigon, Uneasy Rider, Simple Man, and there's dozens more. But again, today, we're going to get into The Devil Went Down to Georgia. So let's listen to it, And for those of you joining us via YouTube, as I say every week, copyright issues, those prevent us from embedding the video. So you're going to see a link in the upper right corner. You can click on that to jump to the song, then just jump on back here for the rest of the program where we will go through the song. Everyone else should be able to listen just fine. And I do apologize that at the end of this video, there's a long period of applause before the audio and video finally finishes. That's just the way they did the video. I can't do anything about that. All right, so here's the song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Okay, welcome back to the program. Well, that's quite a fun song. I hope you'll agree. So much going on in that song, and it's so unique. I think you probably understand the basic storyline here, but perhaps not, because Charlie Daniels is speaking so quickly. So before we get into the details of the lyrics, let's make sure you understand the basic story. Again, you have to keep in mind the idea of Christianity. When you die, a spirit is left behind. It's called your soul. And it either goes to heaven or it goes to hell. So in this story, the devil who is in charge of hell, he wants to get the soul of a boy named Johnny. So it's a pretty simple story. The devil sees that Johnny knows how to play the fiddle, and since the devil also knows how to play the fiddle, he challenges Johnny to a fiddle competition. If the devil wins, he gets Johnny's soul. If Johnny wins, he gets a fiddle made of solid gold. And in the end, Johnny wins. And by the way, a fiddle, you may not know what that is, but it is exactly the same thing as a violin. The only difference is the way people refer to the instrument depending on where they are and what style of music is being played. If it's classical music, we'll usually call it a violin. If it's country music, bluegrass music, Irish traditional music, we'll call it a fiddle. So when you hear him playing the violin in the song and he's talking about a fiddle, it's the same thing. The fiddle is the violin. But like I said, there's really no difference. It's just what we call them depending on the music. All right, let's jump into the lyrics. The song starts with the first verse. The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind 'cause he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. The phrase in a bind means that you're in trouble. You're in a bad situation. So the devil is in trouble because he hasn't collected enough souls. That's why it says he was way behind. He was behind in getting souls. So he wants to make a deal. So to make a deal means that he's going to make an agreement with someone. He's going to challenge Johnny to a fiddle battle. All right, so the verse continues. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a fiddle player too. And if you care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you play pretty good fiddle, boy, but give the devil his due. I'll bet a fiddle of gold against your soul, 'cause I think I'm better than you." All right, so there are a few words or phrases there that might be tricky. For example, he says when he came across a young man sawing on a fiddle. What does that mean, sawing on a fiddle? Okay. To saw on the fiddle, that's just a slang term for playing the fiddle. A saw is what you use to cut down a tree. And if you think of the motion you make with the stick, that's called a bow. But with that stick that you play a violin with, think of that motion. It looks like you're sawing. So that's all that means. He's playing the fiddle. Okay, and when he says that he's playing it hot, we sometimes use the word hot, not about temperature, but we just use it to mean awesome. For example, an athlete who's hot means they're playing really well. All right, next we have a hickory stump. What does that mean? What is a hickory stump? Okay, very easy. A stump, that's just a piece of the tree that's left sticking out of the ground when you cut it down. And hickory is just a type of tree. And so, if it's cut down evenly, and if it's a big enough tree, it can be a big flat surface you can stand on it. So, that's where he was. He jumped up on a hickory stump. That's where the devil was. Jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what." Okay. I think the last part that's tricky here is when he says that you got to give the devil his due. To give someone their due just means that you're giving them credit. You're giving them the credit they deserve. All right, and then the verse ends, "The boy said, 'My name's Johnny, and it might be a sin. But I'll take your bet, and you're gonna regret, 'cause I'm the best there's ever been.'" Okay, 2 words here that might be hard to understand. A sin, that's when you do something wrong against your religion. So he's saying it might be a sin to make a bet with the devil. Okay, and then he says you're going to regret it. So to regret something means that you feel badly about something you did. So Johnny is saying the devil is making a mistake by challenging him. He's going to regret it. All right, the chorus of the song, it's not really a true chorus because it changes the words each time. It's more of a chorus musically. So we get to the first chorus. It says, "Johnny, rosin up your bow and play your fiddle hard, 'cause hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. And if you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold, but if you lose, the devil gets your soul." All right, just a bit that's tricky there. First of all, rosin up your bow. The bow, remember I told you that's the stick you use to play the fiddle or violin? And in order to play it properly, you need to put a substance on the bow, which is called rosin. That's the name of the substance. I honestly don't even know what that looks like. I know in baseball they have something called a rosin bag, and it's like a powder. And it's weird. Think of like powder that you would normally use here, like that you can buy at 7-Eleven. Even though it's dry, it kind of makes things feel smoother, which is seems a little weird and opposite, right? Dry but smoothed out. So it might be like that. It might be something like that, like a powder. I'm actually not even that familiar with what the rosin is that they use. But you have to rosin up your bow. You need to put that on the bow in order for it to work. Okay, then there's the term hell's broke loose. Hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. Okay, so hell's broke loose, which is interesting because hell breaking loose is a saying we use in English, and it just means that everything's going crazy. But it kind of has a double meaning here, since the devil is in town and he comes from hell. So hell has literally broken loose. Okay, and finally, when it says that he deals the cards, when someone is dealing the cards, it means they're in control. So, in other words, the devil's in charge. He's got the advantage going into this because he's the devil. Okay, the second verse. "The devil opened up his case and he said, 'I'll start this show,' and fire flew from his fingertips as he rosined up his bow. And he pulled the bow across the strings, and it made an evil hiss. And a band of demons joined in, and it sounded something like this." Okay, and then they get into the part where they play the devil's fiddle solo. Okay, so to say he's going to start the show, the devil's just saying that he'll go first. He'll take the first turn in the fiddle battle. And when it says it made an evil hiss, it refers to kind of an ugly sound. You'll notice in the music, if you remember back when he says that line, they have that screeching sound as he pulls his bow across the fiddle. It makes a really screechy sound. So that's what they're talking about. That's the evil hiss. Okay. So finally, demons, they're like the devil's assistants. The verse is broken up here by the devil's music. Again, we get the fiddle solo. But then it finishes up When the devil finished, Johnny said, "Well, you're pretty good, old son, but sit down in that chair right there and let me show you how it's done." All right, that's pretty simple. Calling him old son, good old son, that's just a phrase we sometimes use, especially in the South. But when you tell someone, "Let me show you how it's done," it means you're going to do the same thing, but better. That's what we use that phrase to mean. When you say, "Let me show you how it's done," it means I'm going to do it better than you. Okay, the second chorus comes in. Fire on the mountain, run boys run. Devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Granny, does your dog bite? No, child, no. Well, that is all very strange and impossible to understand. And I'm not going to explain it. Why? Why? Because it doesn't really have a specific meaning. No. What those all are is those are the names of songs that you can play on the fiddle. That's why they're mentioned here. Now, Charlie Daniels does add a few words here and there to the names. For example, the first song he mentions is just Fire on the Mountain. But he says, "Fire on the mountain, run boys run." The name of the song is just Fire on the Mountain. They've added Run Boys Run. They just do this to make sure each line has the right length to fit properly into the song and to make sure they rhyme. That's it. That's it. So there's no big meaning to these lines that seems so weird. It's just fiddle song names. Fire on the Mountain. Chicken in the bread pan. Sorry, I skipped the House of the Rising Sun. House of the Rising Sun, that's another one. And Granny, does your dog bite? 4 different fiddle songs. And actually, the House of the Rising Sun was made into a different song by a different rock group. That's another great song. You should look that up. The House of the Rising Sun. And there's no fiddle, I don't believe, in their version of it. But there is a fiddle version of that song. Okay, the second and final verse. The devil bowed his head because he knew that he'd been beat, and he laid that golden fiddle on the ground at Johnny's feet. Johnny said, "Devil, just come on back if you ever want to try again. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, I'm the best there's ever been." Okay, to bow your head means that you're looking down, usually sad or embarrassed. There's really nothing else in this verse that's hard to understand. I should tell you that there is one bad word here. There's a curse word in English, so I'm not going to repeat it. I already said it once when I said the lyrics, so I don't want to get in trouble here. It's the phrase "son of a B." That B word is an English curse word, so I'm not going to repeat it. But we shouldn't get in any trouble for saying it, even though it's a curse word. They've allowed it on regular American television since the late 1980s. So it's kind of an acceptable bad word. This song was recorded before then, though. And that's why you hear the crowd get really excited when Charlie Daniels says this line. Because at the time when this video was made, or this recording, if you're just listening to the audio, at the time when that was made, that would have been considered extremely strong language. And you also don't usually get language like that in a country song. This, of course, is, like I said, country rock, so it crosses over. So it's a time when you didn't hear that word. It's a country music song, so that's really strong language. And, of course, it's being used against the devil, so most of the crowd and most of the fans are actually okay with it, even though it's a curse word. So that's why everyone gets so excited and cheers so loudly when he says that line. All right, that's about it. We get one more round of the weird chorus, and that's the end of the song. I personally think it's a really fun song, so I hope you enjoyed it as well. As I said in the first segment of today's show, I really hope you'll go investigate more of Charlie Daniels' music. There are so many good songs. with such excellent storytelling. So check out more of his music. Sadly, Charlie Daniels passed away just a few years ago. He was pretty old, though. He had a good life. So keep his memory alive by enjoying and sharing his music just like I'm doing with you here in today's episode. Thank you for joining us for today's Musical Musings program. Please stay with us and tune back in next week for another great song and another great episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Musical musings, musical